I'm joined by Professor Richard Wokocha, Associate Professor, Public Law, Rivers State University. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon, Nigerians.
Let me kick off by asking you what your impression is on the crisis rocking the Rivers State House of Assembly.
First, the crisis is needless, absolutely needless. In every organized society, there are rules by which people assess the public space and come out. So I think it's absolutely unnecessary. If persons have been elected and sworn into office, they have a term, the term ends and they go. And as for the House of Assembly, the rules are clear. The Constitution provides for the do's and don'ts and what constitutes vacation. So if you have taken the step that constitutes vacation, you are out. At the moment, I think the position is the way it should be. Since Section 109 has been done, subsection 2 has been completed, which is declaring those seats vacant. Anybody who has any issue with those developments will approach the court. And if the court is satisfied that your case is different from what is contained in the Constitution, then it can restore you. But until then, you are out.
In the light of this issue, we have seen, breakdown, of law and order in the state. In fact, 3 persons were reported dead, in the state, killed in the state. APC is calling for a declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. Do you think that should be done? And if so, what shape or manner should a state of emergency, in Rivers State, constitute?
I think that the call for state of emergency is one that is laughable. What are you calling for state of emergency for? That some people have, set themselves against the law and they set themselves against the Constitution. Why do we have the security apparatus? Why does the state have the coercive powers? You bring them under the law. Take necessary steps to bring those people who are out of the law under the law. That is what you do when there is a misconduct or when there is misbehavior by persons who have considered themselves into outlaws. Not declaration of state of emergency. State of emergency for what? There is no basis for that call. Absolutely no basis.
How would you assess the decision of the court declaring the seats of Amaewhule and 24 other lawmakers vacant in Rivers State?
It's absolutely correct. If you read the Section 109, subsection 1G of the Constitution, it says if you leave the party that sponsored you to the House, members are on the seats in the name of their parties. That if you leave that party and become a member of another party, and I should add, even if you do not become a member of another party, because there is no independent candidacy under Nigerian law, and so you have no independent seats in the House. The moment you leave the party that sponsored you to that position, you are out. All that the Constitution requires is that the rest of the House, without your participation, should meet, acknowledge that fact, and make the necessary declaration, which is declaring your seat vacant, in order for INEC to be able to act and give your constituency the opportunity to replace you in the House. I believe that at the end of the day, judgment is likely to be consistent with what the order that has been made is. It can only be different if the situations were different, but it's not.
Well, I hear you when you say, according to the Constitution, these seats are vacant, but then some persons say, the governor himself, contravened the Constitution by inaugurating the Caretaker Committee. What's your response to that?
The Constitution guarantees system of administration by democratically elected officers at the local government level. Now, that's correct. But in every law, because the Constitution puts in the hands of the state the making of the laws and conditions on which local government will function. In every state in Nigeria, the laws on local government contain provision for caretaker committee in the event that tenure ends without a government being sworn in, a new government being sworn in. That provision is still there. And so, yes, the Supreme Court has said repeatedly that that is wrong. All the states need to amend their laws and remove that provision. But as we speak, it is still there. The last administration governed Rivers State for almost 3 years with caretaker committee. The Supreme Court judgments have been on for more than 10 years before that time. But they did. They governed Rivers State for close to 3 years using caretaker committee. It's not expunged yet from the law. So it is wrong. Whoever uses it, you use it at your peril because somebody can contest it and the courts will agree with the person that it's unconstitutional. But it is the same thing with tenure elongation. The Constitution does not also permit the House of Assembly to impose leadership on the people. It says the people should elect their leader. That's why it says system of local government by democratically elected government is guaranteed. So yes, it's still in the law, but that law has been declared wrong and unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. But that law has not been amended.
Now, what do you think would be a lasting solution to the crisis rocking River State? This has been ongoing for a while. It seems as though if one issue is ending, another one springs up. What would be a lasting solution to the political tension bedeviling River State?
Please follow the law. There is a reason why the law is made to govern the public space. The Constitution has only one business, and that is prescribing how the organized society of Nigeria as a sovereign nation should be governed. Follow the law. If we follow the law, we won't have this situation. Everybody in this situation is either on the side of the law or outside the law. If we stand on the law, it has provided to cover every situation and everybody. So I think we should continue with the position of the law. Elections should be organized for local governments, for constituencies, to refill their spaces in the House of Assembly. As for local government, I'm sure that has been taken care of because from all practical points, the local government secretaries are active now and the new persons appointed into them have resumed work. So let's be guided by the law. That's why we have the Constitution. No nation works outside this law. If you do, you will have the kind of crisis we are having. And then finally, we should also be careful with the kind of people we put into public trust. That place is sacred, the public space. It's a very sacred space. And we should put only reasonable people there. You put people who are unworthy, you have the kind of change we are having today. They want to finish and take the office home. And that is unconstitutional, illegal, and wrong. It cannot work anywhere in the world.
You talked about local government. Some persons are calling that the governor of the state, and that's Fubara, should instead conduct local government election. What's your reaction to that?
Definitely, it's a constitutional responsibility. The state must conduct local government election. But if it has not been conducted, you cannot say the local government should not function. As I have said, the law provides for him to do something that he has done now. That thing has been pronounced by the courts in the past. In the case of other cases arising from other states, it has been pronounced to be a wrong approach to the constitutional governance of local government. But recall that even under the last administration, those who went to court about 9 years ago, the case is still pending at the Supreme Court in the case of River State. So we need to amend the laws and ensure that the proper thing is done. And I'm sure if we act properly, we won't have these situations where elections are not held at the time they should be held.
Well, indeed, the rule of law should apply to every one of us for us to move forward in this country, Nigeria. Well, thank you so much for your time on the news, Professor Richard Wokocha. Thank you once again.
It's a great pleasure. Thanks for having me.